Dre, I've been in love with you from the first day I saw you.
All right, I got a follow-up question. Why did it take you so long to say that?
Because I was scared and hard-headed.
Real hard-headed. So, I'm listening to Hot 97 because I hear that they are about to play Cavi's first single. So I'm like, yo, this is a big day for Brown Sugar Records. Big things. It's going down, just like you said it would. And I couldn't be more unhappy. Because for the first time since I can remember, I didn't have you to share my life with. Sydney, I have loved you from the first time I laid eyes on you. And I love you still. You're my heir. So, I don't want to be your friend no more.
Peace, love, life, and balance. And welcome to Universoul Balance, Universoul. I'm your host, Chief Jamal. Just seeing the clip from the classic movie, man. The classic movie. A very good movie. Beautiful Sanaa Lathan, Tate Diggs, Brown Sugar. And the question, we're going to pose here today. The age-old question, one of the age-old questions is, can men and women, it's actually two questions, twofold. Can men and women truly be just friends? And is establishing a friendship important for a successful relationship? And establishing a friendship important for a establishing relationship? Now, these are two topics that oftentimes people talk about. They often go off of, it's very easy to get emotional or use your personal experiences or personal preferences. And it's one, to be honest, on the women's side, women, it's very hard to really, because more so in the sexual marketplace, as they say, as the saying goes, women control the access to sex, men control the access to relationships. So the problem with this debate is that if that's true, which I'll get into that later, because that can be, debated. those sayings. I believe it's true on the surface level, and I don't believe it's true in every case. But what I will say is this: that let's just say for the sake of argument, if we're going with that as being the case, if men control the access to relationships, and men are, but at the same time, we're more sexually driven, visually driven. Now we're talking in overall, not just for one person, but basically the majority demographics. We're not talking about exceptions to the rules. We're just talking about in general, because in general, men are more prone to move for physical attraction in relationships. We're not really going to be driven by an emotional connection with a woman. We're driven by that, by their fertility, basically, how there is. Don't get it wrong. I'm not one of these guys going to say that having an emotional connection is useless. It's very important, but it's not going to be the priority for a man in most cases. More so for the woman. So, as far as the friendship is concerned, we're talking on the friendship level. For a lot of men in society, Chris Rock had a famous joke. He said I don't have female friends. I just what someone called female friends basically said they just female, women I ain't fuck that, And that's how most guys think, man. Now me personally, one of my best friends, I have two real good friends I've been knowing for years that are females. And I want to get into the nuances of this, and we don't have a sexual relationship, and they're trying to say ugly, or they think I'm ugly, we're just not on that vibe. I personally do believe that men and women can be just friends. I personally do believe that establishing a friendship can be important in building a relationship. But, however, there's a but. I believe that it has to be certain circumstances to fit these criteria, and I also believe that those circumstances are far in between, and most people disillusion themselves to think that there are any circumstances, but really these are very rare cases. In most cases, let's just be 100. A man is allowing himself to be a friend or being in the friend zone. You can check out my video about the friend zone. He's only doing that he's looking at that as a waiting place to get to the access of sex, or that woman, or being with that woman, relationship with that woman, or a woman in most cases is using that as access for attention or access for validation. See, there's really no, they can lie outwardly, lying to themselves, their mind. There's really no ulterior motive more than that in most cases. I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10 that is the case. I won't say 100, but I'll say about 8 times out of 10 that is going to be the case. However, as far as the subject as it's important to establish a relationship, establish a friendship before marriage. You just seen to them those of you that watch, it's an old movie, man. If you ain't seen it by now, that's you can watch. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but basically the main characters, played by Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs, they were friends, and they had a common interest in hip hop, and they had a common build. They both loved hip hop very strongly, fell in love with hip hop at the same time, and the movie was very cleverly written because her the way she was talking about hip hop, it was also synonymous with her love for him, and with a lot of women, most times they're not. And you got to keep in mind, we came out in the late '90s, so I know things have changed, a bit more aggressive, but for the most part, women of that caliber and quality, they're not going to be the ones who push. Even if they have feelings, they will stay in their friend zone and want to wait for that man to make that move. So we're still dealing with the onus of the relationship being hinged on the man making a commitment. Now, in the movie, they actually had sex, and then when they had sex, they kind of regretted it, but they were able to still bond later on and whatever. Now, like I say, I don't think in real life, I don't think that would be the case most of the time. In real life, if you sleep with someone you saw as a friend, I'm talking from experience. I'm talking to people that have experience. When you sleep with someone that you regard as a friend, you didn't see that way, and it felt awkward afterwards, usually you don't move forward to be in a relationship. Usually y'all either just try to forget about it and stay friends, or unfortunately, a lot of cases y'all kind of messes up the relationship. That's really how it happens in real life. That's a movie, we understand it's got to be for cinematic purposes. But I do believe that it's important to establish certain commonalities in the long-term and building a long-term relationship. But however, I do not believe it is essential to be friends or best friends with the woman, or a woman with the man, for to have a successful relationship. As a matter of fact, I believe oftentimes that shouldn't be the case, especially from the man's standpoint. It shouldn't be an equilibrium type friendship, type vibe with a woman that you're romantically involved with. The reason being because you're not wired like that. It's biological. A woman's wired to see a man as a protector, as a leader, as someone that she could rely on, as someone that she can, that she might want to. They might say that they want to talk and be emotionally available, but that, like we always say, man, you got women. With women, I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all. I love y'all. We don't bash women here, but it just is what it is. We know that y'all actions always kind of counter what y'all say. Y'all don't like those type of guys. You say you do in public, you do it for social, and for the sisterhood, but you don't give those guys action. You only will marry those guys if you already got kids or some situation. Then you'll marry those guys for necessity. But there's very rarely you romantically connect with those guys. I think the approach should be definitely that if you see, if you don't want her to see you, as far as on the man's standpoint, as her best friend. Now I know it's gonna sound controversial, but that's just the real life, man. If she sees you as a friend, as a man, that means she doesn't see you as a leader, and she sees you as an equal. You know, we don't preach being equal. We preach having an equilibrium, meaning that and balance. Why it's called universal balance, meaning that she's operating in her maximum feminine, you're operating in your maximum masculinity. Now I know when you watch TV or you hear stories on the internet, that's all fake, man. Most relationships I see where people were best friends, I seen where they were both sports fans, they had a common interest, but it was on one pendulum. Maybe it didn't work out long term, because we're human. Those things are going to eventually dissipate completely, or you're going to grow tired of them. And then when you grow tired of them, you're not going to have that respect to fall back on, that pillar of strength that she's looking for to fall back on. If she's coming into your master energy, you're not going to have that nurturing spirit to rely on. You won't have the natural things to rely on, and what makes women and men uniquely fit. Why we fit to each other. Why our polarities attract, opposites attract, not the same. You know, when you're dealing with someone who's on the same frequency as you, as a friend, is beautiful. That's why the women I do have friendships with, I know I can say strongly that we're never going to be romantically involved, because we're too much alike to be romantically involved. We're not on that vibe. And I've had friends who are women who were friends where it was sex involved, but I've learned over time that you really, because women connect differently, no matter what they tell you, men out there, they are going to catch some type of feeling, even if it's a bad feeling. They're going to catch some type of feeling sexually, because just scientifically, what happens to their body, what they go through when we penetrate them, they can't help that. They can tell you all they want, but they can't help that information. So you have to be wary of that. Now, some women who maybe program themselves, or they've been through so much that, or they had so many bodies that it don't really matter no more, and they can kind of turn that off. But most of you guys don't want those women as wives or as a girl. Some guys do, and that's okay. I actually don't see nothing wrong with it. I just think I don't see anything wrong with boss chicks or chicks who got body count. I just think that they need to be realistic about their expectations and what the type of and understand to try to fit the type of men they attract. But overall, they're not going to want to really bond with the guy who's on a friend vibe like that. Now, the ones who do vibe like that, who've been friends for a long time and they became lovers and all of that, the reason that it may work is because their friendship was not built on commonalities. Their friendship was simply built on foundational truths and foundational characteristics, what I would say trust. They have a good, strong trust for each other. They have great communication. They have a great sense of each other's, you know, the nuances of each other. Those are good things. You can build any relationship, friendship, a marriage, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's certain characteristics that fit all relationship archetypes. But commonalities and having the same interests, and that we overrate that, because when you're not with somebody, you're going to naturally think, well, we like the same thing, so it's going to be. Now look, I'm not saying that's not a good thing. That's a good thing. You should have some things in common. What I'm saying is that if that's the foundation of building a relationship, is your commonality, maybe your love for hip hop, or your love for the NBA, or your love for whatever, traveling, that is unlimited. You're going to need more than that. You're going to need more now. We just talked about some of the financial traits, such as trust, love, loyalty, communication, compassion, things to that, love, real actual love, and reverence for the person, respect. When you got those are foundational things that are transitional to whether you, I believe that those are important in a friendship, a marriage, or a relationship, girlfriend and girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. Those are just things you should have in any relationship. But when you get to the part where you got, being buddies, that's not important in a relationship. I know it looks good in the movies. We all enjoy the movies, y'all enjoy the R&B songs, and you see the people that's posting on the internet, I'm marrying my best friend. He's his best friend. And then later on, they broke up. They nowhere to be found. Them is the most unsuccessful relationships, man. Reason being because you're not supposed to marry your best friend. Now, if y'all become best friends in the course of building your marriage, that's good. But if y'all attracting and build off that foundation is like sand. And I know what the scriptures say: when the storm comes, it's gonna sit there. But when that storm comes, and that rain comes, it's gonna fall down because you built it on things that can change. Commonalities can change. Let's say if you meet a female, or if you're a female, you meet a man, and you guys both are very aggressive in business. This is a lot of the power. That's why the power couple dynamic doesn't work. And I'm going to repost the video about the power couple. It was a real good video. It got taken down. I'm gonna repost it though. I'm gonna correct it with YouTube. They finally gave me an answer. I need to get the video up. But that's why the power couple dynamic does not work, because in the power couple often doesn't work. Now don't hit me with the exceptions to the rule. There's always gonna be exceptions to the rule. Exception proves the rule. It doesn't mean that, well, I know this one person out of 1,000 during work, and then sometimes they don't even work. Let's not do that. The reason that dynamic does not work, right, is because y'all moving in the same energy. Y'all not moving in it. Y'all not complementing each other's energy. You can't have a couple. If you got a corporation where it's all bosses, it's not going to work. You got to have something that's going. Someone has to submit to make the relationship work. That's just how it is. Whether it's the male or the female, one of y'all has to submit. If you're a beta male, wear your beta male proudly, and do what you got to do, man. And if you love her, if you got with her, she was masculine, if you're an alpha, so-called alpha, I hate saying this alpha, beta, dumb shit, but if you're a so-called alpha male, whatever, you're gonna need someone who's submissive. Or if you see yourself as a masculine man, let's say not an alpha, but a masculine man, you're not gonna jail with a woman who's on the same masculine typically. And when you're in a power couple, y'all moving in that same, y'all might, whatever power y'all moving in order to make a power, that's a combination. Power means an increase. When you turn on your lights and it's dim, you got to give it more power. It's just an aggressive attack. Power is just an aggressive insertion of the same energy. So power couples don't work because it's too much. And a power couple is hyperbolic and hyperactive towards one energy that you're successful in riding on, and that's going to burn out. Power couples always burn out. That's why you see them. They be all, yeah, we a power couple, we rich. And then they post, and later on they're like, we just decided to mutually move on to the next chapter, and we're gonna remain friends. And yeah, that's what y'all probably should have stayed was friends, because that's not an energy you build a life partnership with. You need someone to be strong when you're weak at. Okay, that's what you need. You need to assess yourself honestly, and when you meet somebody, does this person make me a better person where I'm weak at? Not someone to come in and already, hype you up with you already strong at. That don't make any damn sense. But, we fought these narratives, and here we are. But anyway, I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna just, give you a final answer, a final verdict. I do believe that you can be a man, a just friends, a male and female, but these are the situations. Someone you grew up with that you see as family. I don't believe if you're in a relationship you should be having male friends or female friends like that unless they were there prior to the relationship being established, and that your partner has the same access to those friends, and you shouldn't be disrespecting your partner by being, if you were doing things, it should be boundaries, okay? It shouldn't be, just out there, but those are rare cases. Usually when a man or a woman has friends, it's somebody that they have in a side pocket in case things they don't work, that they actually like and want to fuck with. Let's just stop playing. So I'm telling y'all, yeah, it's possible, and it's because I would be a hypocrite. I've done it, but let's not play games and know what it is. And that being said, peace, love, life, and balance.